David, let me know when you're recording.
I am recording. And Tammy, I only had the absolute top of your head for some strange reason. Had it all earlier. There we are. Oh, you're just leaving over. Okay.
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Are you ready to record? I could just, it's loud in here, so.
We are recording now, Tammy.
Okay. That was loud, sorry.
Can you please adjust the computer?
Okay, welcome to the Rotary Club of Kerrville. We're so glad to have each of you here. I would like to ask you to mute your cell phones. Also, for our guests online, please mute your computers so that we can give all of our attention to the speaker. At this point, I would like to invite Tim Campbell, to lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Look at this.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and just enjoy each other's company today. Thank you for the good progress being made in our city, in our area, in terms of reduction of COVID cases and no current hospitalizations and increase in vaccines. And we're just so pleased with that good news. Help us to continue to be vigilant as a community and just doing our best to protect those who are vulnerable. We thank you for this time. We just thank you so much for our first responders, particularly today for our police, as we get the chance to meet our new police chief and hear about his vision and plans for the future. We just thank you for all who are serving and just ask for wisdom and discernment and strength in their exercise of their duties. And just thank you for this club and just ask that we would be good stewards, that we would be good servants to our community and just empower us to get out and serve all the more. And we just thank you for all this and ask your blessing on this day. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. That was just awesome. At this time, we're going to hear from Chief McCall, but before we do, we're going to ask City Manager Mark McDaniel to offer the introduction.
Thank you, President Tammy. Before I introduce Chief McCall, I want to take the privilege of recognize somebody in the room that was a huge help to me and to the community for a brief time. Chief Thomason over here in the corner, wave to everybody, Chief. Chief was the interim police chief while we went through a very lengthy and rigorous recruitment process. The recruitment process took weeks, but it was expedited, I think, fairly quickly. I think the chief will tell you that. We had probably 70 applications from around the nation. We did a nationwide recruitment. And I dare say that we ended up with the best possible candidate and best possible chief that we could have. So I think you'll see that in a moment when you hear from him. So let me tell you a little bit about Chief McCall before he gets up here. He brings with him more than 20 years of law enforcement experience, mostly from Hobbs, New Mexico, where he began as a patrol officer all the way back to 1999. He served as a deputy chief and then interim chief before he was promoted to chief in Hobbs in 2013. During his tenure there in Hobbs, he provided strategic leadership and direction for 150 staff members, so larger department than what we have here. He oversaw operations of a 75-bed detention facility, so he operated a jail. Managed media relations and social media engagement. If you've not noticed, there's a lot more engagement online, particularly through social media from the police department these days. He devised crime and traffic enforcement strategies. He drove community engagement efforts aligned with policing in the 21st century, which was a large reason why I hired him, is his focus on the community and engagement with the community. He also served on various state level boards, including president of his own association. He consulted senior community leaders on public safety issues and emergency response efforts. So again, very engaged in the community. He holds a bachelor's degree in public administration from Upper Iowa University. And he is a graduate of the FBI National Academy 241st session. He's also attended, like I have, the Kennedy School for State and Local Government Executives at Harvard University, the Lead Weldon Cooper Center for Public Safety at the University of Virginia, and the West Point Leadership Program. He, again, has served as president of the New Mexico Association of Chiefs of Police, the New Mexico Law Enforcement Professional Standards Council, and has been a board member of the New Mexico Law Enforcement Academy Board and the New Mexico Municipal League. McCall has a proven background in practical applications of law enforcement processes and procedures, problem resolution, data analysis, and the training and development of personnel. Please help me give a warm Rotary welcome to Chief McCall.
Thank you very much, Mr. McDaniel. I don't know who that guy was you were talking about. I don't know that I accomplished all those things, but I guess I did at some point. Well, thank you. First, I'd like to do is thank everyone for the warm welcome that I have received since I've been in Kerrville. I've talked with many of you or exchanged emails or things of that nature since I've been here. Even before I got here, I was receiving emails of welcome from folks here in Kerrville. It just goes to speak volumes of what a wonderful community we have here, and I'm very appreciative and very blessed to be here. As Mr. McDaniel said, I served as the police chief in Hobbs, New Mexico. It's a city of roughly 50,000 people for approximately 7 years. Prior to that, I'd worked my way through the ranks. I'd served different capacities within the department, from patrol officer to field training officer. I've served in several capacities as a first line supervisor sergeant, from patrol to our special enforcement team, which is a street crimes unit, as well as in CID as a CID supervisor and eventual commander of that division, as well as commander of the patrol division of our department. So I've had a good opportunity to see a vast array of policing within that agency and within Southeastern New Mexico. But more importantly, I was also able during my time as chief to serve on several boards and committees at a state level that gave me a perspective of agencies throughout the state. It really benefited me because I'm one of the kind of folks that I don't necessarily believe in reinventing the wheel. If you can acquire an idea from someone else, I'm happy to steal that idea and use a good idea in my organization. So that really gave me an opportunity and a place to look at organizations throughout the state and really try to grab best practices and instill them into our agency. And I say that to lead into kind of where we are here at the Kerrville Police Department and what we're doing as a team. We've really been doing a self-assessment since December. We started that process with a survey out to all of our employees to give feedback into the organization as to what they see we need to work on, what they see that we do really well, and what needs they may have from their perspective in the agency. I also conducted one-on-one meetings with our employees and team members over the month of January. In fact, into this month. In fact, I have one tomorrow afternoon that I'm trying to make sure that I get to meet with everyone, and really taking that input and putting that information down on paper, and we've taken a look at that as a command staff. Chief Thomason, myself, and the rest of the command staff have taken that information and created a strategic plan, as it were, to move forward as an agency. We took the input from our first line folks, our first line supervisors, as well as our first line workers, and ranked it, prioritized it in a format that we could work with, because once we got everything up on a whiteboard, we filled a whiteboard with the ideas and information. So it really took us trying to figure out how we were going to work through that information and prioritize it. we came to a conclusion that that there's somewhat of an elephant to eat in some in some regards, and we're taking small bites of that and working as an organization to move forward. Some of the things that we've done thus far, we initially looked at our field training program early in December because we want to ensure that we're onboarding our people properly, giving them a good basis to begin working from as police officers. So we've really been working on that program, continue to work on that. That will probably be something that we continue to tweak over the coming years to ensure that we're staying abreast of the most current training procedures that we can. We also looked at our hiring process, really tried to streamline our hiring process to be able to get folks, applicants in the door quicker rather than leaving them out waiting on a call back from us. Hiring in law enforcement nationwide is a challenge right now. Being able to find quality individuals, they're not growing on trees anymore. It seemed whenever I came into law enforcement, you would show up and test, and sometimes there would be hundreds of people testing for just a few positions. Now it's quite the opposite. You really have to try to reach out, find the quality people you want, and recruit them into your organization, bring them across into the organization as part of the team. And that's our goal with our hiring, which leads me into our next steps, which is putting together a recruiting team. We're working on that. Over the last 2 weeks, we've really started work on that, trying to identify personnel within our agency, personnel within our agency that have the skill sets to help us go out to police academies, colleges, universities, military bases, really to reach out and get one-on-one contact with applicants and bring them into our process of hiring. We hope to get that program up and running within the month. As we know, coming in May, have a lot of the college and university graduations, academy graduations. So we want to try to be up and running with that program by May to be out and about. Which kind of side note commercial, if anybody in this room knows of someone who is interested in being a police officer or a career in law enforcement, please drop our name out there and have them contact the Kerrville Police Department. We'll get someone in contact with them to give them the information and maybe get them started down the path for a career in law enforcement. We'll be looking strongly to the community for help in our recruiting as a partnership to try to draw in quality personnel to serve our community. I think the folks like you sitting in this room recognize the kind of people that you would want to deal with as a police officer on a daily basis, and probably know some of those folks that are out there. And we would love your help in transitioning them into a career with our agency. As we conducted our assessment internally, we identified some equipment needs. We have some equipment that is starting to age and beginning to fall out of service, and we have to create plans on how we're going to replace that equipment. And a lot of that is going on right now as we're into our budgeting process, and I've been prepping Mr. McDaniels quite regularly on the dollar signs that may be attached to some of that. We're trying to do our best to be good stewards and look for other avenues to try to achieve some of the things that we recognize we need, whether it's personnel, reclassifying personnel, and maybe putting them into a little bit different responsibilities. But we do recognize that there is a lot of equipment need out there. That includes our facility. As we looked at our facility, I know we've tried to do a little historical gathering of information on the facility. And I know we've been in that location for in excess of 25 years that we can account for. Jeff, you may have some knowledge about what that true date is, but it's definitely been quite a while. The building has given its all and continues to give its all. Where we have we do have some issues with our roof and plumbing and all the things that you would expect in an older aging building. So a new facility is likely something that we will be looking for in the very near future to try to accommodate the growth internal of the agency, but also looking to partner with other areas in the city who may be also able to benefit from a new location, the fire department, the municipal courts. All of these things kind of make sense in a public safety building. And I think this may be a little bit of news to Mr. McDaniel, but no better place than to break news like this in front of a group, right? No, I just he's aware of our needs for buildings and things like that. But as we've moved through this process, we have recognized that a lot of our needs do have dollar signs attached to them, and we're working to rank and prioritize those things, whether it be with vehicles or ballistic equipment or those type of things. Which leads me to other programs that we would like to be able to start, but may not have the funding availabilities because we need to focus on our basic needs. We've run very lean and mean in terms of how we utilize we've pushed a lot of that equipment to end of life. So we recognize those are priorities over extra programs. But some of those extra programs that we would like to start, one of those being a canine program. We would like to get a canine unit up and running starting with one dog, but eventually we would like to see 2 dogs that we would be able to deploy so that we'd have that availability 7 days a week to be able to schedule that. And of course, those types of programs come with a dollar sign attached to them. So one of the things, partnering with Mr. McDaniel and the Communities Foundation, we've created the Kerrville Police Department Foundation. Literally today, that is being completed, and happy to announce that here. It is an opportunity for folks to make a donation to the police department. It's a 501c3 organization, so it's a tax deduction. And we're hoping this gives us the ability to create some of the other programs within the department, within the agency, that we may not otherwise be able to fund. Things like our canine program. We also have some community engagement plans down the road that we would like to be able to enact, to be able to create opportunities for our department to be able to interact with folks, with citizens that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to interact with the police department. And some of those things will cost money as well to be able to set up those events and pay for the things that you need to be able to utilize to draw folks in from a neighborhood into an area to have those types of opportunities of exchange of information. We're working hard to try to accomplish a lot of these efforts. And I tell you, the team that is in place at the Kerrville Police Department is very impressive. It's amazing when you get to a location, you start talking with folks, and everybody's concern is with the community and with the organization. I heard very few people with the me attitude. This is what I need. That really the mindset and culture of the organization was already set in the phase of being concerned about the organization and the community first, and that is a great benefit to a new chief coming into an organization, not having to set that goal or that path that's already there and has been laid out, and people are ready to move. So with that, I would like to open up and talk about what you think is important and answer any questions that you may have in regards to the department. Yes, sir.
With all the unfortunate thoughts throughout our country of the negativity towards police officers, it brings up one question: that does Kerrville Police Department have the body cams?
Yes, sir, we do. We have body cams issued to all of our patrol officers, as well as cameras within our police units. So those things are activated, and anytime that they're in contact with citizens, it's part of our policy that they have those things activated. We do routine reviews of the video that comes off of those calls so that we're able to coach and learn from our interactions with citizens as well. Yes, sir.
With the attitude John talking about around the nation, in some of these larger cities, defunding, do you see maybe a tendency of migration of some of those experienced officers your way?
So I guess the question was with departments being defunded in the United States, if we are looking to try to recruit some of those officers into our ranks. That is a definite opportunity that we'll be talking about with our recruiting team when we come to strategy, and we'll be working on our recruiting strategy in the coming weeks as far as how we're going to go about making those contacts and reaching out to the officers who may be looking to relocate to a more law enforcement friendly area. Yes, sir.
Regarding your discussion about hiring new officers, do you currently have an open job opening? I don't see where person search you go off to. What are the minimum requirements of your department?
So we do have current posting. You can go to our website and there's a location there. And you bring up a good point. That's another part of the strategy that we're going to be discussing, is how we get that information out into the public in regards to, hey, we're hiring, we have our shingle out, help wanted, come talk to us. And colleges and universities are going to be an important part of our contact and who we reach out to try to locate personnel. Traditionally, police always wanted to go talk to your criminal justice majors, but in today's police environment, you have to have the English majors, the psychology majors, the technical folks that deal with computer science. So you're really talking to anybody across the board that has interest, because all those special skills are necessary in police work as well. And there was another part of your question that I didn't get to.
Could you repeat the question, please?
The minimum requirements in regards to a police officer for the city of Kerrville was what the question was. So minimum requirements is 21 years of age. You have to have a high school diploma to apply. And there's a set of fitness entrance qualifications that you have to meet. And then through the process, there's also psychological reviews that you have to be able to pass. So there's a litany of things that go into that, but the basic are 21 years of age, high school diploma, no criminal history, no serious criminal history, and drug usage. No drug usage, but there are years attached to certain types of drug usage. Right now, $49,000 a year is about where we start a police officer, and those are all part of our recruiting talks and hiring talks, is to look at what the compensation package is and ensure that we're competitive in the market.
Please repeat the questions.
Can you explain or describe the size of your department? How many patrol officers, shifts, and investigators?
So the question is, what is the size of the department? So there are about a total of 75 employees within the agency. About 55 of those are certified police officers. We're broken down into 3 divisions: a patrol division, which is made up of roughly 35 individuals. Our criminal investigations division, which houses our investigators, and our evidence unit. and then our support services division, which takes care of our accreditation, internal affairs, as well as training. And that division has, and public information, pardon me, I should go back and make sure I recognize public information. Sergeant Jack Lamb is our public information officer, and he's responsible for our social media. I've heard a lot of comments about the activity on our social media of late, and we can thank him. He's the person that's responsible for getting out information out, and ensuring that we're staying up to date and posting out daily information, and he's doing a fantastic job for us. Yes.
With the, as Mr. McDaniel spoke last week, the population of Kerrville going up, what's the strategic plan for the police department? How many officers do you want that to grow?
Right. So the question was with the growth in Kerrville, what the strategic plan for the growth of the police department is going into the future. And I could say part of that is going on right now in our assessments. Assistant Chief Thomason is currently doing a review of information. He's putting together an assessment of our responses over the last 5 years, how much time we're spending on calls, we're going to be looking at where we're having crime. Do we have enough personnel out at certain times? Do we have particular issues that we need to be addressing with special units? We're going to be taking a look at all of that in the coming months. So to really give you a solid number, I don't necessarily have that right now, but we are in the process of looking at where we sit and where we're going to need to be in the future. I can say from the initial assessment, it doesn't appear that the department has grown much, if any, in about the last decade. So we really may have to do some right sizing here in the next couple of years to try to get to where we need to be internally, right size as an agency, and then really start looking at the future of where we're going to head. Sure. Is there anybody online that has any questions? All right. I don't believe so.
It always takes people a minute to unmute, so just I want to ask that question again.
I'm sorry, what was the question on the?
I just said that it takes people online a minute to unmute, so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. Time.
Okay. Okay.
It looks like anybody has a question from online. Thank you.
Thank you. So in regards to crime and criminal activity, you know, some of the things that we've been working on of late, we had several months ago, we had a spat of catalytic converter thefts throughout the city. Our investigators have been working with investigators from other locations around outside of our county and within our county to try to solve that. And I believe they may have some suspects identified in that. As we're working through those things, we're looking at how we're going to create intelligence sharing with other agencies within the area. I think it's important because we share the same criminals. We'll share criminals with Kirk County. We'll share criminals with Ingram, Fredericksburg, Gillespie. So I think it's important for us to be able to set up a mechanism for us to be able to share that information, such as the issue that we saw with the catalytic converters being stolen off of vehicles within our community that was also going on in communities around us. All right. Well, thank you very much for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to get to speak with you. I will drop one more piece of information out, and since this is brand new, I'm going to read it off of the card. So in regards to our Communities Foundation, where we have partnered with the Communities Foundation to create the Kerrville Police Department Foundation, and you can make donations to that by going online to the Community Foundation's website. You can click on donation and select up the Kerrville Police Department link, and it'll walk you through making a donation. Or you can send a check to the Community Foundation of Texas Hill Country, care of the Kerrville PD Foundation. at 241 Earl Garrett Street, Kerrville, Texas, 78028. So, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Chief McCall. That was really enlightening, and we really are so glad you're here with us. We have some business to take care of, but although he can't hear us, I think that we should give a round of applause to Chef Ed Lawrence. I think he did a wonderful job in giving us a traditional Irish lunch. And so for you guys online, that included corned beef, Irish stew, soda bread, and cabbage. It was just very thoughtful and nice, and I just think that we should let him know that we appreciate it.
And Tammy, we can't see. Tammy, we cannot. Tammy, we cannot.
Stephanie Miller, do you have Families in Rotary for us?
Tammy, lower your camera.
We see you real well, Jeff. For some reason, the podium's only showing the top of your head. There we go. All right.
Is that better?
You can see.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the difference in size between the speakers and the and everyone else. So anyway, so thank you, Chef Ed. Stephanie, back to you. Do you have a Families in Rotary for us, please?
I do. Jack Pratt had a quadruple bypass yesterday, but I talked with his wife, and he is doing well. They have him sitting up. He's in ICU, but doing well. And the doctor said all went well during the surgery. So just prayers.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I also put in our email this week a message from Guy Overby, and I really thought that we should all hear it because it was just so special, and he was so insistent that everyone know it. This month, he celebrated 1 year of being cancer-free after being treated last year. And he told me when I was giving him his raffle tickets to sell that it was the, not just, but the notes, the calls, the words of encouragement really helped get him through that difficult time. So I just wanted to share that with you because he wanted you to know that he really appreciated it as he celebrated his first anniversary. Also, last week we talked about welfare calls, and what we're saying about that is we generally average about 80 people in non-COVID times attending our meetings. And at those meetings, you know, it's high fellowship, very close group of people. We're currently now averaging between virtual and in person 40 to 50. Today is 60 people, but that means there's a group of people that are just left out there. And if you sat with someone that you haven't seen or heard from, why don't you try looking them up, giving them a call, send them an email, just checking on them. I think that's something that we should do. Also, right now, I want to tell you thank you for the blood drive yesterday. We did so well. I was so scared. A week prior, we only had 12 people signed up because of the glitch where it wasn't showing up on the South Texas Blood and Tissue website. But between the efforts of Rotary and the help of the city of Kerrville, we were able to fill every single slot. That was 40 people that signed up. So thank you so much. We're doing a great job. And the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center sent a thank you to us for our efforts. We will have another one next quarter. Yeah. Right now, more than ever, we need to do that, help them, but thank you so much. And I've talked with President-elect Jeff, and I think that we may continue that next year. So I'll let you know about that. And at this point, I would like to bring up President-elect Jeff so he can talk about the main event.
Thank you, President Tammy. Real quick, before I get into the main event, I've got to share a little Families in Rotary Stephanie didn't know about, but it happened last night. We all know our lovely Glenn Crane, our elderly gentleman, World War II veteran. I was going home last night, and Glenn was walking from his daughter's house to his house down the middle of the street. I stopped and asked Glenn if he wanted to ride home, which was only 3 houses down. He looked at me and goes, "Well, son, I don't ride with anybody that I don't know their name and I don't know who they are." I said, well, Glenn, I'm your neighbor. I've been there for 7 years. And I know you from Rotary. He goes, well, then I can ride with you. So his sense of humor is good. He's going to try to join us next week. So I told him that one way or another, we can coordinate a ride to get him to the club to meet with us again, because he does miss us. He said, please understand, I'm not making excuses for missing the meetings. I've just had a lot going on in my life. So we all know what that is. So with that, I would like to kind of dive into the main event. First and foremost, I'm going to say thank y'all. We went live with our auction on Monday. We have 84 items on our auction site right now. And in 3 days, we are at 26.3% of our goal in 3 days. So that's amazing. Thank you. The ticket sales are going. I'm not stressed yet. I'm starting to a little bit, but I'm not getting there yet. We're a little bit over $14,000 in ticket sales. So one way or another, we're going to be fine. We're going to sell more tickets. We're going to get out there. Maybe I can get with Chief and, they can give tickets out while they're making citation stops or something for us. I don't know if that'll work or not, but it's a thought. So yeah. Hey, if you want to pay $100 for this, we won't give you a citation for your speed. So, but probably won't work, will it? So, but it's going well. We're having fun. Yeah, Lucy, you did not hear that at all. But we're having fun with it. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have our drawing on the 31st. There was a little schedule glitch on our website that had it as the 24th. But the main event is going to be on the 31st here. We're going to draw for the $10,000, the Paul Harris Fellow, the Ashley Furniture, the Komodo Joe Cooker, and the Jill Reno Jewelry. And then we're also going to let everybody know. I like to say I won whenever I do a silent auction, but that's not winning. You're just adding more to it. So the recipients of those wonderful gifts that we have out there. So thank you all for the main event. Yes, Mr. Hutto. Yes, sir. It's 32auctions.com/Rotary main event. That is the website for it. Robin, who has been a godsend to me through everything, trying to help, and well, she's running it. She's the one that's doing it. She's sending out emails to the club, and she's really the driving force behind it. So it's we're doing great with that. And I can't just say Robin. There's a whole bunch of people, and there's one that's right behind her, and Amber. Hang on 1 second out there.
Please tell us what they said.
The auction is going to close on the 30th, so we can get everything lined up for the 29th, excuse me. That way we'll have everything lined up. And for those of y'all in the Zoom world, Amber Thomason and Ashley Phillips, who are helping with the raffles and the ticket sales and the auction. If you go to our Facebook page, Kerrville Rotary Club, it's on there. So if you want to like it and share it, once you share it, it's going to share it to all of your friends that you have on Facebook. I shared it on mine. I've shared everything. And then I went in and sent it to 100 email contacts that I have that are personal that said, yes, we want to do something. Thanks for sending it because we didn't know. So thank y'all for everything on that. I'm going to hit on one more event because it's just kind of one after another right now. The First Responders Week, April the 7th is going to be our awards presentation and ceremony and lunch for our first responders, followed by Monday the 12th at Comanche Trace. We're going to have our golf tournament. We are up to 15 confirmed teams right now, and that's amazing because, thank you. We haven't been pushing this a whole lot because I've had other focuses. going through pets, making sure the main event works out in the auction, but just a little bit here and there, and we're already up to 15 teams. So there's some sponsors that have already stepped up and said they want to do above and beyond. So thank y'all all so much for that, because it goes back to our first responders, and it makes them better at what they do to better protect and serve us, because they are our public servants out there and they're the ones that help us. So thank y'all for your support in that as well. You want me to do gifts too while I'm here? Yes. All right, since I'm being a podium hog, I'm going to introduce our guest as well. So Amber Thomason, you have a couple of gifts with you today. Thank y'all for being here. Chief, thank you for your service to our community. It's Amber Thomason. She has one of her co-workers with her, Candace, and her husband, Assistant Chief of Police, Curtis Thomason. And Mr. McDaniel?
Yes, I have with me E.A. Hoppy, Deputy City Manager.
Mr. Hobby, thank you for being with us again this week. And Lucy Wilkie, you have a guest with us. Our DA has John Hoover, her first assistant prosecutor, with her. So with that, I'll give it back to President Tammy, and we are going to proceed. Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. I want to reiterate what Jeff said. It takes all of us to get these funds raised so that we can do the many projects that we do over the year, and there's a lot of them. We have kids that are going to be taught to have water safety. We are going to have our Labor Day event, our Blue Santa, all the things that we do is constant throughout the year, and we can't fund those if we don't do our one fundraiser of the year and everybody participates. So next week, please bring in your money. If you need help, we will gladly come and pick up your raffle ticket sales and tickets. So thank you, Jeff, for all your hard work. Thank you, Robin and team, for all your hard work to do this. I know it's difficult. Also, I have some wine. I forgot wine last week and nobody told me, so we're gonna have wine this week. So if you are wearing your pin, you may come and get this beautiful bottle of red wine. Johnny Grimes, are you wearing your pin? No. Andrea Wilson online, are you wearing a pin? Andrea, she might have left. Okay, she was there earlier. Jill Sadberry, do you have on a pin? Yay, okay. General Walter. Okay. Yes. That's okay. And also we recently handed out a bunch of Paul Harris pins, and I still have some for people who are not attending in person. So Marta Diffin and Rhonda Sanford and Gerald Arian and David Rittenhouse, I have your pins and we will get them to you. I just wanted you to remember that I have them. You can pick them up or I can bring them to you. We also had a guest that wasn't announced, and it's General Walter from Schreiner University. So thank you for coming. And I was just informed he's turned in his application for membership. So that's so exciting. Okay, I don't have anything else. We're awfully early, so that'll be good. And if anybody else has anything for the good of the club, please let me know. If not, please join me in the 4-way test. Of the things that we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you so much. Yay. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I don't know what it